Hello everyone and welcome back to my blog. Tonight I'm going to be doing my part 2 to my previous post, which was my domestic violence experience video. I felt like coming to you guys and talking about it brought up obviously so much emotions, and it obviously got the best of me, so I couldn't really focus towards the end of the video and I had to cut it short. And I felt like I need to come back to you tonight and talk about something that I left out that was very important. Now that is, how I got out. It's all good to say, domestic violence is wrong. This is what you should do. You shouldn't be in a domestic violence relationship. But actually coming and saying how I got out is a very important factor to the story. So if you haven't watched the previous domestic violence video, if you scroll down, if you're on my blog, scroll down, it's the next video. If you're on YouTube, it's my previous posts, obviously. So yes, how I got out. Let me just tell you this off the bat straight away. This took a lot of planning, a lot of lying, manipulating. It did not happen overnight. It took a couple of years, and I basically had to do what I had to do. I don't regret anything I did. I obviously felt guilty at times, and then my close friend Jose would be like, why are you feeling guilty? Like, you need to get out. Where do I start? So when I was, let me just think, I think 20, hang on, let me think. I think 20 or 21, my ex and I got engaged. And at this point I thought he actually was going to change. Obviously, looking back at it, it's like, okay, if someone's physically, mentally, verbally abusing you constantly on a regular basis, I mean, I'm not talking about every day, but it was a frequent occurrence per week. If they're, smashing windows, breaking your stuff, all sorts of crazy things, very controlling, why would you think getting engaged to that person is going to somehow change anything? Well, I guess obviously the way he changed me, that mindset he put me in, that train of thought that I had, I honestly thought he was going to change. I mean, looking back now, I mean, it sounds crazy as hell, but like I said in my previous video, until you're in that situation, you will never understand. You will never understand. And I used to be one of those people that used to judge and be like, why are you with that person? You're stupid, that girl's stupid. But trust me, once you're in that situation like that, only then you will truly understand. So yeah, my parents and my stepmom at the time, and my ex's family at the time, organized this beautiful engagement party. I had this nice white dress. It was, it was decked out. It was really beautiful. But obviously his change only lasted for, I think, 3 weeks, which was a really good progress. And then basically after that, I'm like, okay, it's never going to change. It's never going to change. I think it only hit me then that he never was going to change. And I started to lift that veil that I had on my eyes and actually start to think properly. Shortly after then, I had my 21st birthday party. And by this time, we were living in separate rooms of the house. So we weren't living together in the same room. All sexual contact had stopped, even kissing, hugging, it would just be like kind of hi-bye. I would cook for him, I would clean for him, I would wash his clothes. That was it. It was strictly nothing else. I stopped wanting to go out, like whether for dinner or whatever, because I wasn't allowed to see anyone. So I'm like, I don't want to go for dinner with you. I don't want to, go in public, act all nice that I'm enjoying a company when I'm really not. I really don't want to be associated with you. I stopped bringing him out when I went out with my friends. Like if I did go out with friends, shout out to Jose. It mostly would be with Jose, who's one of my really good friends. He lived at the time about 10-15 minutes away from me, and I think he's like really the only person I was allowed to hang out with. And Jose's actually gay. Those that don't know, my friend Jose. And I say that because my ex was so crazy that he actually thought that me and Jose would hook up, or you thought that me and Angelo, who's one of my other best friends, would hook up. I'm like, both these guys are gay, but the way he thought was just so messed up. Oh my god, I cannot stress it enough. But moving forward, so yeah, I had my birthday party, and by that time, as I said, we weren't living in the same room, and I basically didn't want him at the party. I mean, every birthday I had, he'd always managed to stuff it up somehow. You know, someone just have a good time. I mean, it was my 21st birthday. You know, I wasn't even allowed to go to parties, so I'd never been to a party, so this was my first time to kind of somewhat experience a party, and I was excited. I mean, I planned everything as best as I could by myself. I even had guy friends that I'd organized to help me with setting up, you know, the lighting, the equipment, the sound equipment, everything. I didn't need him, and I didn't want him there. I think I even ended up getting ready at the hall that night, or I can't remember if I came back or whatever, but anyways, that whole day I hadn't seen him. That night, he rocks up to the party, I think maybe an hour later or something, and I was like, okay, what are you doing here? Like, I'm not about this mess. I just want to have a good time, just enjoy the company of my friends that I don't even get to see. Let me be, let me enjoy myself. So he rocks up, and then I think maybe like half an hour later, a bunch of his friends rock up as well. I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Then I thought, you know what, it's better his friends come, then he can just do his own thing, leave me alone, and we're good. Some point of the night, it was quite early, it wasn't, party hadn't really started, he comes into the kitchen area where I was with some friends. It was my friends Vanessa, Angelo, Vanessa's partner at the time, school friends Nicole and her partner. I think that was it. I don't know if there was any others, but basically I was going into like this pantry cupboard to put gifts in the cupboard, basically to get out the way. He comes in like angry, I don't know why, and he kicks me in my shin, and I just remember it just bruised straight away, and he either punched me in my stomach or punched me in my chest, and all I remember is just not even thinking about the pain. It hurt like hell, let me tell you, but I felt like embarrassment came over me so fast, and I remember just turning and seeing Vanessa and Angelo looking at me. I think Jose was there too, just looking at me, and I'm like, oh my god, what the hell? Like, how do I explain this? You know, like, I know they're gonna like shoot me straight away. And then, you know, like Nicole was one of my school friends who had I don't think she knew about the situation, but I know she had never seen anything. So her seeing that, and you know, Vanessa's partner at the time is kind of like, what the F? So all I remember is that I looked, he saw people looking, he closes the pantry door, so we're both inside it in the dark, and he's just like, blah, 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 like going off at me. I don't know, I don't think he'd been drinking. I was just scared. I was just like, this is crap. Like, if he's willing to do this in front of my friends, like this is just beyond control. And I can't remember exactly what happened, how it happened. I remember people coming up to me saying like, what the hell is going on? I was like, you know, I was in tears. And then next thing, there was like a party, and there was a fight in the parking lot. Basically, Vanessa's partner at the time was trying to tell my ex to leave, like, you need to go, like, you can't be here, how dare you hit Natasha, how dare you touch her, like, you're not even a man, blah 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 blah. And then he's just like, you know, F you, la la la. Like, that's all he knew how to say. Like, he didn't know how to, you know, really speak the truth or stand up for what he was doing, or, you know, admit that he was wrong. And next thing I knew, one of my ex's friends had a knife in his hand. No, hang on. Yeah, had a small knife in his hand, like a pocket knife. And then another one like gets this beer bottle, smashes it on, I think like the pavement or something, and has like this beer bottle, and like, you know, like the, so bad at explaining stuff, had like the beer bottle smashed basically, and was like threatening to hit it, to hit a few of my guy friends that had come, and also Vanessa's partner at the time. And I'm like, well, this is just too much. Like, I can't deal with this. I was shaking. I didn't know what to do. I think it lasted maybe 5-10 minutes. And then obviously he ended up leaving with his friends. And I think he stayed at their house that night. basically the party was ruined. Like I was just like, listen, I'm done. Like the party's ruined. It was so embarrassing. I just wanted to leave. So, but obviously I had to clean the hall first. So I remember, I think most people left eventually. Obviously made sure that I was okay. And then I asked Angela and Jose to stay with me that night. I'm like I just don't want to be alone, and I'm just too scared, and I don't want him to come, and just can you guys please stay? So yeah, obviously they did their best to cheer me up. I mean, they even took the cake to my house and cut it up for me and sung happy birthday to me with candles and everything. And yeah, it was just, that was like one of the highlights of my night. Just the way those two did everything they could to cheer me up, given the circumstances. Yeah, so that was that. And I can't remember what happened from there the next few days. Obviously, he was apologizing, the same old bullshit, you know. All I remember is I was like, hey, listen, I need to get out. Like, this is just not cool. So I told him I wanted to sell the house, told him I'm done, like, officially done. Like, I know you've heard it all the time, but I'm done. Like, I cannot be with you. You disgust me. Like, I just want to just end this. I just don't want to have anything to do with you. And then, of course, he didn't want to sell the house because he knew that once I was gone, like, he had no control over me anymore. I was his, you know, innocent 14-year-old, you know, version that he met, and he couldn't let go of that. And he always would say, if I can't have you, no one else will. Then I tried to inquire about getting my name off the lease. If I get my name off the lease, fine, he can keep the house, I don't care. You know, he can profit from it whenever he does sell it. I just wanted out, and it was going to cost me about 20 grand to get my name off and basically hand everything over to him. And I didn't have that money, and my family didn't have that money, and I had no one to ask, and nor would I even want to ask anyone. So I basically thought, okay, next game plan, what can I do? So then I thought from there, okay, if I make him think that I don't have the money to pay for the house and that I want to, you know, move out, but with him, then he would be open to it. Yes, I had to basically play his game. So I can't remember exactly how I did it. Basically, I made him think that we were going to sell the house, be debt free, we could travel together, we could, you know, live the life, and I would still live with him. I would rent a house with him. And how dumb does that sound? Like, I was just telling you like a week ago that I wanted nothing to do with you, and then now I'm telling you that I want to move out of this house and get another house with you, but rent. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But his dumb ass bought it, so whatever. So anyways, we sold the house, I think, after a couple of months. So that couple of months, I had to pretend that I wanted to be with this guy. There was no sexual contact still. I basically told him, like, you know, I'm not at that level yet. I just can't emotionally give you that side of me. And he bought it. But it was crazy because I had to try and explain to my best friend Jose why I'm still hanging around this guy, and to Angelo. And they couldn't understand. But I mean, again, they're not going to understand. They weren't in that situation. But they're like, you know, you don't want to be with this guy, but then you're still hanging out with him. You're still, you know, running to him when he calls. You're still, you know, answering those calls and, you know, coming back whenever he wants. But I was like, you know what, in time they will learn, they will see. So yeah, basically, I think we even took a trip to Malaysia together. But from memory, yeah, that was right. When I agreed to go to KL with him for a holiday, but I made sure Jose came too. I can't remember how I managed to do that, but I made him agree to go on a holiday with me if Jose could come. So the three of us went, and I needed Jose there for protection. I needed Jose there for just to watch my back, and obviously to go on holidays with him as well. And obviously my ex was, you know, so sweet on holidays as he is when he's on holidays, but when it's reality and his work is affecting him, his family and everything, and just was, yeah, back to the same old crap. So anyways, we eventually sold the house, and at that time he'd found somewhere for us to move into. So that was with one of his friends' brothers who I think he either owned the house or he was renting it, but then he was renting rooms, so he wasn't actually living there himself. So that's when I met my friend Michelle. Michelle and her sister Aveline, they were also renting rooms in the house. And then my ex had managed to get 2 rooms. So at that time, I'm trying to think how this all worked out. At that time, I actually managed to, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna move in that other room, I'm gonna pay rent. I think I even paid like 2 weeks rent just so that he believed me. And at that same time, I got in my own place. Well, not my own place, I basically found a room to rent in Vic Park, which was actually near him, not knowing at the time. So he was staying in Bentley and I was staying in Vic Park, renting a room there. And I would tell him, like, you know, also, well, I didn't actually mention how I got out, sorry. The day that it was time to move out, I made sure that I had taken all my stuff. Like, I left him a lot of furniture that wasn't important to me. I left him a lot of furniture, and we also sold a lot of stuff too to make it easier. And I packed all my stuff. Jose had this car at the time. Oh my gosh, wouldn't really drive properly. But he had this car at the time, and he hired a trailer. I don't think I hired the trailer. I can't remember what happened. He didn't have a license, but he was driving the car. And Angelo came as well, and the 3 of us packed all my stuff early morning when my ex was at work. It was a Saturday, I remember. I packed everything. We moved everything from there to the new place that I was moving into. And we did it all before my ex got home. And there's only a few things left in the carport of my stuff. My ex came, saw us moving, and then he drove off. So obviously then at that point knew that, okay, she's playing some game. So anyways, I moved, and then he wouldn't stop leaving me alone, kept calling me. And at that time, I still had to go back and clean the house. I still had to wait for the settlement. So I still had to maintain that contact and a believable story so that I could still, you know, finalize the settlement, because he still had to sign stuff. So if I wasn't playing the game still, he wouldn't have signed anything, and I would be basically be still bound to that house and having to move back into the house. So I told him that I wasn't ready to come and stay with him at Bentley, and that I was staying with one of my friends, and that, you know, I would come and see him. So I went there a few nights to go and visit after work and stuff. I think I stayed a couple of nights over maybe like a 2-week span. But yeah, it was just so uncomfortable because I just felt gross. I felt like dirty. Like, I'm lying in this bed next to this guy in this one room that I hate so much, yet I'm not doing anything sexually, just being in his presence, in the same bed as him, knowing that I have my own room in Vic Park and that I'm only being here just to make sure that I get out of the house. Not even about the money, just make sure that I'm out of that contract once and for all, and then I'm done with the house. I'm not bound to him anymore. And yeah, it was just I just felt so gross every time I would leave the house. And I'll go back to my own house and have to make sure that, you know, the space of his rental and my place was literally 5 minutes, give or take. I had to go down different routes because he did follow me on many occasions. I had to take different routes to make sure that I diverted so many different ways that he wouldn't catch me, wouldn't find out where I was living, because then obviously he wouldn't leave me alone. From there, basically, it was the final week of the house selling, and I had to stay with him for a little while longer, so it was still believable. I stayed with him in that house, and yeah, again, like I said, it was a disgusting feeling, and he still was controlling me from when time I went to work to when I came back, and nothing had changed. But I had to I thought, you know what, if I've done it for so many years, I have to stick this out for a little while longer. I mean, I've come so far, I can just keep pushing a little while longer. And then from there, one time he did actually catch me. He found out where I lived in Vic Park. Immediately once he found out, I'm like, okay, I need to move out. I need to get out of this house. So by that time, basically the contracts had been drawn, everything was signed, it was done. All that was left was for the money to be transferred. I lost a lot of money from the house, but that wasn't important to me at all. My safety was first and foremost most important. So from losing money from the house and walking away with just $1,000, it didn't faze me whatsoever. I was just like glad my life is free. Now I can actually start to live my life. I mean, yeah, I'm like 21 or 22, but I can finally start to live my life. I'm free. I don't need to answer any of his calls. I can change my number. I can just be free. I think during this time happened all so fast. From there, I basically moved into a townhouse with a girl called Shana that was renting the townhouse, and Jose and I both moved in there. And even at that point, I changed my number. He somehow still got my number. I think in that space of living in that one house, I changed my number about 3 or 4 times. Somehow he always got it. He was very good at manipulating people, being like, oh, you know, Tasha gave me her number, but I misplaced it, or I lost my phone, I need Tasha's number. Like, he was the perfect manipulator, I'm telling you right now. So he even somehow found out where I was living. Oh yes, he followed me one day from the airport where I was working, and this is like 5 in the morning, so I wasn't paying attention to, you know, who was behind me. But he followed me to my house in Rivervale, and then that's where he found out where I was living. And he came a few times, but I wasn't home, and we had a gate at the front. And you know, obviously was trying to call, was trying to calm. I made sure that I was never home, because I'm like, listen, like, I'm not bound to you at all. You have no control over me. And I felt so liberated. I felt, oh my God, I can't explain it. And I was still having that struggle, having to keep looking over my back all the time. That did not stop really until, I guess, until I moved to Malaysia, in all honesty. What can I say to end this quickly? I can go into more detail. If anyone has any more questions about this, I can go into more detail. I'm basically trying to just skip till you get that idea without me, you know, boring you with my in-depthness of this. But if you have any questions, let me know. But let's just say I cut all ties with my ex, would be like finally cut all ties 2011. I think it was 2011 March from memory. This guy had stalked me until even after I moved to Malaysia. He stalked me until I met Hamza. For him it was like, I'm single, so he knew that I wasn't messing with no one, that I had no interest in other guys. So for him it's like, she's still single, she's still mine, I still have a chance. And even when I told him about Hamza at one point, I'm like, listen, like, you need to stop. I've moved on, and I've been telling you this, and I finally found someone else. And that was September 2012. And he still didn't believe me. He thought I was lying. And then, you know, obviously saying that Hamza was living in Malaysia. It's like, okay, that guy lives in Malaysia. Like, you know, this guy's got no chance. That even until I got married, only then he really backed off. And that was like, what? May 2013. That's when he finally backed off. There was so many times in Malaysia he would call my phone, and I would never answer, of course. He would always ask about me. He contacted me on Facebook. Oh my gosh, there's just so many stories. And then only once I actually like conveyed to him that I was married, then he moved on, and yeah, he lived his life, and he eventually got married as well. But yeah, it just was a very long process, literally 2 or 3 years. I was planning my escape. There's so many times that I actually had moved out and went to go stay at Jose's house, or had just left, and it was crazy. I can't explain it. It was just so crazy. Looking back at it now, it's all a blur, but it just, certain points come clear to me. But like I said, to get out, I had to play his game. I had to manipulate him. I had to lie to him. I had to make him think that I was all his. You know, tell him about all my whereabouts. You know, everything, every movement. I had to play that game, and I'm glad that I did, because that's the only way I would have gotten out, honestly. Me being true to myself and telling him how much I despised him, I would never have gotten out. I would never be where I am today. I probably most likely would be dead, to be honest. It was that serious, that many times that I'd been injured and really feared for my life, that I'm so grateful to God that I'm sitting here today talking to you all, and that I'm alive, I'm healthy, I'm happy. It just really was a dangerous situation, and I pray that well, I can't really say that no woman goes through it, because it's just becoming more and more frequent in this day and age, in this world, which is a damn shame. But I just pray that anyone that watches this video, I got amazing feedback from the last video. Women from different parts of the world that are in the situation or have just gotten out approached me, asked me to keep it private, so I will not disclose any names. But I had an overwhelming amount of people who have contacted me from the last video. I'm still getting contacted till today about that video. I've still got messages to reply to, so I apologize to everyone that I haven't replied to in regards to your comments and questions about my previous video. On Instagram, the comments, and Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp, I will get around to all of it, I promise you. But I hope this video encourages you and helps to motivate you to get out. I'm just very lucky and grateful that I don't have any children, because if I did, it would have been a whole other ball game. It would have been even harder process. So women that are watching this that have children, my heart goes out to you so much, and never feel like you're alone. Like I said in my last video, I was very alone at that time. I had no family around me. I had friends, but obviously, you know, a certain amount of friends that didn't understand what I was going through. So yeah, I could vent, but I never really had anyone that was there to pull me out, or there that could speak in a different manner. Like Jose was one of the few that stands out, that was there for me so much, and, you know, supportively, and played a major part. That time that I really needed someone to cheer me up, to just make me laugh, he was that one person, him and Angelo. But I felt like I didn't have anyone that could just give me what I needed at that time. Yeah, it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say, but never feel like you're alone. There's always someone there that you can reach out to. Don't be alone like I was, and not talk to anyone, and not, I mean, I did also speak to family members who I won't disclose, but yeah, it just basically went, how do I say this in the correct way, not to cause any shade? I spoke to a few family members when these occasions were happening. They basically turned a blind eye, or they were more concerned about, you know, the money I was going to lose from my house sale, or how much money they spend on my engagement, more than actually my safety. And when you try to reach out to close family members, and that's the kind of feedback you get, you just think, why did I bother? You clearly know what's going on, or you know to somewhat of a degree, because you've seen bruises, you've seen marks, you've heard of incidents, and you don't want to do anything, so you basically shut up and don't want to tell anyone. So never feel like you're alone. There's always someone that's going to be there, whether it's someone that you don't even know. There's a support group. There's so many support groups out these days. There's always someone. Just please, 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 please talk to someone. Do not let it go unspoken, and just pray. I mean, if you're not a religious person like I am, or if you're not, you know, if you're not Muslim, if you're not Catholic, if you're not Hindu, if you're not Buddhist, and you believe in the universe, then pray to your universe to help you get out of the situation. I cannot stress that enough. I pray day in, day night, all the time, and yes, of course, God didn't hear my prayers straight away. I'm not angry at that. I don't regret anything that I've been through, because it was a major learning process for me, and it could have been a lot worse. There's people suffering in the world way worse than I did. So for me, it's just grateful that, you know, God is perfect in his timing, and he was perfect in the timing of rescuing me. So that's everything. I'm so sorry this is so long. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me via Facebook, via Instagram, via WhatsApp. If you want my WhatsApp, feel free to message me on Facebook or Instagram, or comment on this blog post, or comment on YouTube, and I will give you my WhatsApp contact so we can talk. Like I said, I've had a lot of women reach out to me, and it's been amazing to just feel like, okay, through God I can help them, and I can help show them that they're not alone. And yeah, like I said, I apologize for taking quite some time to get back to all of you. There's a lot of messages, but I promise I will. But that's all for now. This video has gone on for longer than I thought, but if you have anything you want to ask me, and go into detail more, like I said, contact me. happy to. I really wanted to just come back and just kind of get inside of how I escaped, and not really going into too much detail, more just kind of skimming quickly trying to tell you. But yes, it's 30 minutes long, so I'm done. Bye!